Welcome back to my channel. Tonight, we step into a courtroom where reality TV meets raw truth, where love stories collapse, secrets explode, and the man who built an empire of 4 wives and 18 children now stands trial for more than just broken hearts. Kody Brown, once the smiling patriarch America adored, isn't walking into a set anymore. He's walking into judgment. The courtroom doors creak open. Cameras flash like lightning. The air is thick, alive with tension. The bailiff's voice booms, "All rise!" The spectators shoot up. Wooden benches groan. Even the walls seem to listen. Because this isn't an episode of SisterWives. This is the trial that left America breathless. Kody strides forward in a navy blue suit, jaw clenched, his golden hair now streaked with gray. No camera crews, no teleprompters, just the gavel of truth waiting to strike. In front of him sit 3 women who once called him husband: Christine, Janelle, and Mary. No longer wives. No longer family, not even allies. Just plaintiffs in a war for justice, each with her own lawyer, each with her own pain. The air between them is cold, the kind of silence that follows after love dies and lawsuits begin. Then the judge enters. Judge Ellison, sharp-eyed, unflinching, known for cutting through drama like a blade through silk. She sits, raises her gavel, and the room stills. "Be seated," she says. And just like that, the trial of the decade begins. Outside, the world is watching. Fans flood live streams. Team Christine all the way. Mary deserves justice. Janelle's about to burn it all down. But inside, every breath feels like evidence. Judge Ellison begins. This hearing will address the monetary, custodial, and contractual issues surrounding the dissolution of the shared property and business agreements between Mr. Kody Brown and Miss Christine. Miss Janelle and Ms. Mary Brown. Kody nods stiffly. He's no longer a husband. He's a defendant facing the fallout of the empire he built and broke. Then Christine's lawyer rises. Amira Lawson, young, fierce, and ready for blood. She faces the judge and says, "Your Honor, what we're unraveling today is not a marriage. It's a web of manipulation, favoritism, and financial exploitation." She points to Christine. "For 27 years, my client built this family, raising children, working for the business, contributing financially to a dream she thought was shared. What she received instead was betrayal, neglect, and silence." Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Kody's lawyer, Victor Chase, a celebrity fixer, not a fighter, rises to defend. He smirks and replies, "This is not a case of heartbreak. It's a contract case. My client owes nothing. Everything she gave was voluntary." The words hit like acid. Christine sits still, jaw tight, but her silence speaks volumes. Then Amira opens her folder. Tax returns, deeds, contracts, every page with names, Christine, Janelle, Mary, every signature a reminder of the shared dream Kody turned into his own kingdom. The room erupts in murmurs. Wait, Christine's name is on the land deed? She helped pay for Robin's house. He's done. And then it happens. The bombshell that changes everything. Christine's lawyer introduces a confidential production memo, one written by Kody himself months before Christine left. In it, Kody told TLC producers, "Christine's not as involved anymore. Let's focus on Robin and me." The public adores our drama more. The courtroom freezes. Judge Ellison leans forward. "Is this document authenticated?" Amira nods. "Stamped and sealed, straight from the network." A hush sweeps through the room. Kody's PR team scrambles. His face drains of color. Because in that moment, everyone sees it. He didn't get left behind. He scripted his own betrayal. The judge's gavel strikes. This case, she says, is far more complex than it appeared. Court adjourns for the day, but outside, chaos reigns. Reporters swarm. TikToks explode. Fans chant in parking lots. And as Kody Brown exits the courtroom, his empire crumbles behind him. Christine walks out last, tall, composed, unshaken. Because for her, this isn't just about money. It's about truth. It's about dignity. And this was only the beginning. The next morning, the crowd is bigger, louder, hungrier for answers. When the judge calls her name, Christine Brown stands, dressed in emerald green, radiant yet restrained. 27 years of silence about to break. She walks toward the stand. And the room falls utterly still. Because everyone knows. When Christine speaks, the world listens. The tension in the courtroom was thick enough to cut with a knife. Kody Brown refused to look at her. His shoulders were square, his gaze fixed on some invisible point ahead, as if staring down the ghosts of his own creation. His jaw flexed, a muscle twitching every few seconds, the only sign that he was barely holding it together. Across the room, Christine Brown stood tall, calm, composed. Her voice steady as the bailiff asked, "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" "I do," she said softly, but the quiet power in her tone made half the room lean forward. Her attorney, Amira Lawson, a woman whose very presence commanded respect, approached with poised confidence. Pen in hand, eyes sharp. "Christine," she began gently, "let's start simple. Can you explain to the court in your own words why you left the plural marriage?" Christine took a deep breath. Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of years finally finding a voice. "I left," she said, "because I couldn't live in a family where love was selective and loyalty was a one-way street." The courtroom fell silent. Cameras stopped clicking. "I was loyal," she continued. "I raised children. I kept peace. But at some point, I became invisible." Her words didn't waver. They cut through the courtroom like a sharpened blade. "When I married Kody, I believed we were building something sacred, a family of the heart, founded on respect and love." Those were his words on our wedding day. Those were his words in front of the cameras. She turned slightly toward the jury, ordinary people now caught in an extraordinary storm. But behind the cameras, it wasn't a marriage, it was an act. Amira stepped closer. "What do you mean by that?" Christine leaned forward, voice low, honest, devastating. When the cameras rolled, we smiled. We held hands. We spoke about fairness, equality, love. But the moment the crew left, everything changed. "How?" the attorney pressed. Christine looked directly at the judge. He stopped coming over. Weeks went by without a visit. My children asked, "Where's Dad?" And I lied. I told them he was busy, that he loved them. But the truth was, he was at Robin's house. The room murmured. Journalists typed like thunder. Christine continued, voice shaking now but firm. We stopped being invited to family gatherings. Robin didn't invite us. We didn't exist anymore. Then came the moment that cracked even the coldest hearts. Christine's voice broke slightly as she said, "My daughter Isabel needed surgery, a major one." She was terrified. I was terrified. She looked at the judge, her tone sharp with emotion. And Kody wouldn't go. He told me it was too dangerous to travel during COVID. She paused, the silence stretching like a wound. But days later, he was seen at a mall with Robin. No mask, no fear, just laughter. The words hung in the air like a confession. A single tear slid down her cheek, but she didn't break. "That's when I knew," she whispered. "He didn't love us anymore." Amira nodded, stepping to the screen. "Your Honor, we'd like to present joint family bank statements from 2018 through 2021. On the overhead projector, lines of transactions glowed under the courtroom lights. Christine pointed. This is when I knew something was wrong. She tapped one entry, a $15,000 withdrawal labeled House Deposit, Robin. Her tone turned to ice. No such payments were ever made toward Janelle's home or mine. The courtroom buzzed with gasps. Christine's eyes glimmered with hurt and steel. We shared finances. Every check went into one account. But somehow, Robin always had what she wanted, while the rest of us were told to tighten our belts. Reporters scribbled. Jurors exchanged glances. Christine turned to Kody for the first time. "You told us love would be equal, that we were all your wives. But in the end, only one mattered. Robin wasn't just your legal wife, she was your only wife." Kody's lawyer shot up. "Objection, Your Honor, speculative." Judge Ellison didn't blink. "Overruled. She's testifying from personal experience." Christine faced the jury again. "Ask yourselves this. If a man marries one woman legally, stops visiting the others, and leaves them to raise the children alone, is he still married to them spiritually? Emotionally?" No one answered. They didn't have to. The silence said everything. Amira's voice softened. "Christine, when you decided to leave, what did you do?" Christine's eyes dropped for a moment. "I packed my things while Kody was gone. I took my children and went back to Utah. I told the producers I was finished." Her lip trembled just once. That's when the threat started. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. "From Kody?" Amira asked. Christine nodded. "He didn't want me talking. Said I'd destroy the family brand. That I'd turn fans against him. Were you compensated to stay silent?" "I was offered a settlement," Christine said. I refused. Her gaze lifted to the judge. I'm not here to ruin him. I'm here because I deserve my share of what I helped build. I cooked for 20 people every day. I homeschooled children. I gave my youth to this family. And now, I want my future. Amira switched the slide. This is a 2015 contract identifying Christine Brown as a partner in Brown Family Media LLC, the company that receives revenue from the show, books, and public appearances. She looked at the jury. Christine wasn't just a wife. She was a business partner, a co-star, a stakeholder. The murmurs grew louder. Christine added quietly, "My name was removed 2 years later. Kody said it was a clerical update. But now I know he erased me." Amira asked, "Christine, what would you describe as the biggest emotional toll of your marriage?" Christine didn't blink. "Losing myself," she said. "I was confident when I married him. I laughed freely. I had dreams. Over the years, I shrank. I lost my smile. I gave everything to keep that family together, but no one held me when I fell apart." She inhaled deeply. Leaving wasn't easy. Staying would have destroyed me. Kody's attorney stood again. "Mrs. Brown, you admit you left voluntarily?" "Yes." "And Mr. Brown never forced you to stay?" "No." "Then why claim assets from something you walked away from?" Christine straightened, her eyes fierce. "Because I didn't walk away from it. I built it." The lawyer smirked. "You never signed a legal marriage certificate. You weren't under contract." Christine didn't flinch. "Neither were the vows," she said. "But they were made and broken." The attorney tried again. "Isn't it true you used the Brown family name to gain followers and sponsorships after the breakup?" Christine nodded. "Yes, because I was always part of that family. The name is mine too." Judge Ellison allowed Christine one final statement before leaving the stand. Christine stood tall, voice unwavering. "I don't hate Kody. I don't want revenge. I want justice. I was more than a wife. I was the glue, the peacemaker, the mother, the business partner. I gave this family everything I had." She paused, letting the silence breathe. "And now, I'm here to take back what's mine." As she stepped down, the courtroom froze. Reporters stopped typing. Even the cameras seemed to hold their breath. Kody's team whispered frantically, but it was too late. Because in that moment, the world had seen what the cameras never showed. The woman behind the broken smile, finally reclaiming her voice. Today's episode isn't just courtroom drama, it's history in motion. Christine Brown didn't just speak. She detonated a truth bomb that shattered everything Kody thought he could still control. The silence that followed her words wasn't peace. It was shock, disbelief, and justice finally waking up. Inside that courtroom, it felt like time had stopped. The tension was thick enough to taste. Christine's testimony wasn't polished for cameras or scripted by TLC. It was raw, unfiltered, and decades in the making. For the first time, America's so-called golden polygamist family stood stripped of its illusions. When Judge Ellison finally raised her gavel and declared, "Court is in recess until tomorrow," no one moved right away. The sound of that gavel wasn't just an adjournment. It was a death toll for the empire the Browns had built on loyalty, silence, and selective truth. The air in that courtroom was charged. People whispered, others wept. Some argued in disbelief. Christine walked out not as a defeated ex-wife, but as a woman reborn. Surrounded by her legal team, her shoulders no longer slumped under the weight of decades of emotional manipulation. The cameras followed her like a storm. A reporter shouted, "Christine, any message for Kody?" She stopped, turned slightly toward the chaos, and replied with trembling but fearless clarity, "Yes, I finally found my voice, and I won't let it be silenced again." Flashbulbs exploded. Journalists scrambled to upload clips. Within minutes, hashtags like #ChristineWins and Our Brown Family Truth were trending across the globe. The internet roared its approval. This was no longer just a family feud. It was a public reckoning. And then, all eyes turned toward the man at the center of it all. Kody Brown, once the proud patriarch, the face of plural love, the man with the golden curls and the reality TV grin, now stood facing a very different audience. This wasn't TLC's editing room. There were no soft lights, no producers feeding him redemption lines. Just a judge, a jury, and cold, undeniable truth. Kody stood slowly, buttoning his blazer as if rehearsing for a role he could no longer play. He tried to summon that old confidence, that camera-ready charm, but the energy in the room had shifted. The cheers that once followed him were gone. In their place, silence, judgment, and the faint sound of pens scribbling notes. When he took the stand, his lawyer, the ever-dramatic Victor Chase, rose and began with a gentle tone. "Mr. Brown, can you tell the court what your purpose was when you entered into a plural marriage?" Kody straightened his shoulders, his voice calm but heavy. "I did it for faith, for love, for a vision of family that could stand the test of time." He paused, glancing at Christine. "I never said I was perfect, but I tried. I really did." The courtroom stayed silent. Even the air conditioner seemed to hold its breath. Then came the unraveling. Kody tried to paint a picture of unity, of shared finances, shared love, shared purpose. But under pressure, the cracks began to show. He admitted there were no written agreements, no contracts, just trust. And that trust, he said, ultimately failed. The judge raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Brown, the court has seen LLC documents under your wives' names. Are you saying these were created without your knowledge?" Kody hesitated. "No, Your Honor. They were made when we were still together, before everything fell apart." But when asked who removed Christine's name in 2017, his composure broke. "I did," he confessed. "She wanted to focus on the kids." Christine shook her head quietly. The courtroom noticed. Her attorney, Amamira Lawson, stood, her presence sharp as a blade. "Mr. Brown," she said softly, "you told Christine, and I quote, 'I'm not attracted to you anymore. I don't consider us married.' Were those your words?" The silence was deafening. Kody blinked. "I was upset. It was a personal talk." "Personal or not," Amamira pressed. "Did you say it?" A long pause. "Yes." Every camera clicked at once. "So tell me, Mr. Brown," Amamira continued, "does telling a wife she's no longer loved align with being a good steward of a marriage?" Kody's voice faltered. Things had fallen apart. We both knew it. But the attorney wasn't done. And yet, Christine kept contributing financially, emotionally, spiritually. She worked on the show. She helped fund the trust. She bore your children. You took her silence as loyalty, and her loyalty as currency. Kody shifted uncomfortably. "I never coerced her." "But you took her money," Amamira snapped. "Her work? Her peace of mind." The audience gasped. And then came the moment that broke the internet. Christine's attorney introduced an audio recording from a 2020 family meeting. The court granted permission to play it. Kody's own voice echoed through the speakers, raw, unfiltered, devastating. "Robin is the only person who gives me respect. The rest of you, I don't even feel married to you anymore. I feel like a paycheck, a punching bag. Maybe I don't want to be married to you people at all." The silence that followed was electric. The room froze. Christine stared at the floor. Janelle wiped her eyes. Mary whispered something under her breath. Across social media, the reaction was instant. "He said that out loud?" one user wrote. "This man bullied Christine out and called it love." Hashtags exploded again. Gaslighting in 4K. Justice for Christine. Protect Janelle and Christine. Kody tried to defend himself, claiming he made executive decisions to keep the family stable. But each word dug his hole deeper. When the judge asked whether he treated all wives fairly, he broke. "I tried, but I failed." Judge Ellison's voice cut through the silence like a blade. "This court does not condemn your faith, Mr. Brown, but it does condemn your actions. So far, the record reflects a pattern of neglect, favoritism, and financial inconsistency." For once, Kody had no comeback. As the gavel came down, one chapter of the SisterWives saga ended, and another began. Reporters swarmed outside, headlines flashing. Kody crumbles on the stand. Secret audio exposes favoritism. Jury sympathetic to Christine and Janelle. And in that moment, the man who once controlled every narrative found himself powerless against the one thing he couldn't manipulate anymore: the truth. The truth. Today's courtroom wasn't just another hearing. It was history being rewritten, emotion by emotion, confession by confession. Christine Brown didn't just speak. She detonated. Her words were the explosion everyone in that room had been holding their breath for. It felt like watching a decade of quiet endurance erupt into truth. As Christine took that stand, the air was electric. Even the lights above seemed to hum differently. Her testimony wasn't just about betrayal. It was about liberation. She spoke of years where love was conditional, of a marriage that existed only when cameras were rolling. Every sentence she uttered carried the weight of 1,000 silent nights spent wondering if she mattered at all. By the time she was done, the courtroom wasn't silent. It was stunned. Reporters froze mid-note, lawyers exchanged glances, and even Judge Ellison took a pause longer than usual before lifting her gavel. "Thank you, Mrs. Brown," she said softly before declaring, "This court will reconvene tomorrow. Witness Janelle Brown will testify next." The sound of the gavel echoed like thunder, and just like that, the room began to breathe again. People whispered, others wept, and a few, the ones who had doubted Christine, simply sat in disbelief. She walked out, flanked by her team, her chin lifted high, no longer the timid woman America once saw sitting quietly on a TLC couch. Outside, chaos. Cameras flashed. A journalist yelled, "Christine? A message for Kody?" She stopped for a moment, her eyes fierce, her voice trembling yet steady. "Yes, I finally found my voice, and I won't let it be silenced again." And just like that, a movement began. Headlines were born in real time. Christine Brown breaks silence. A family empire falls. Across social media, hashtags exploded like wildfire. "Sure Christine wins," "Agnes Brown family truth," "Sheer justice for the wives," flooding every platform from Twitter to TikTok. But inside that courtroom, one man sat in the center of it all. The man who once ruled the family like a self-proclaimed king. Kody Brown. The curls, the charm, the smile that once convinced America polygamy was paradise. Now none of it mattered, because this wasn't TLC. There were no cameras to save him, no producers to edit out the cracks. This was real, unfiltered, raw, and merciless. Kody rose slowly, buttoning his blazer like an actor trying to remember his role. His movements were rehearsed, but his eyes betrayed exhaustion. He scanned the room, searching for that familiar approval, but it was gone. No applause. No admiration. Just judgment. "Mr. Brown," his attorney Victor Chase began, "can you tell the court what your purpose was in entering a plural marriage?" Kody's voice trembled slightly. "When I married my wives, I did it in faith, in love, to build a family that stood against judgment. It wasn't for fame or fortune. It was about what we believed." He looked toward Christine, then back to the jury. "I never said I was perfect," he continued, "but I tried to be a provider, a protector, a father." But the silence that followed wasn't sympathy. It was disbelief. Then came the moment that cracked the facade wide open. Christine's attorney stepped forward. "Mr. Brown, is it true you told Christine, 'I'm not attracted to you anymore, I don't consider us married'?" The courtroom froze. Kody's jaw tensed. "Yes," he admitted quietly, "I said that." "And do you consider that the behavior of a man of faith?" He swallowed hard. "I was upset. Things were falling apart." "Falling apart?" The attorney shot back. "She still bore your name, your children, your burden. She worked, contributed, stayed silent. And yet you took her money and her dignity." Kody looked down, his shoulders heavy. The jury's faces hardened. The image of America's polygamous dream husband was dissolving right there, in real time. Then came the sound that would haunt him forever. His own voice played through the courtroom speakers. "I can't do this anymore. Robin's the only one who respects me. I don't even feel married to you people anymore." The words echoed. Christine's tears weren't just tears. They were justice. Janelle clenched her jaw. Mary shook her head in disbelief. The courtroom was no longer about law, it was about truth. By the time Judge Ellison spoke again, even the reporters looked shaken. "Mr. Brown," she said firmly, "this court does not condemn your beliefs, but it does condemn your actions. The record reflects a pattern of favoritism, neglect, and financial manipulation." Kody's defense shattered. His voice broke. "I'm not as bad as everyone thinks. I loved them all. I gave everything I had. But it was too late. The world had seen. The wives had spoken. And for the first time, Kody Brown, the man who once controlled 4 households, stood completely alone. As court adjourned, headlines erupted. Kody crumbles on the stand. Secret audio confirms Robin bias. Christine and Janelle win the nation's heart. This wasn't just a trial. It was a reckoning. The fall of a patriarch, the rise of truth, and the rebirth of women who finally refused to be silent.